aside, with all this fanfare and all this hullabaloo, he's one of the toughest and roughest wrestlers in the world and has beat all the great wrestlers. There he comes in with a full front headlock. Bob McMaster's telling him to break. He isn't having any of the breaking businesses yet. But between McMasters and Lambrakis, he broke it, and he's still seeing that his hair is perfectly in place. Lambrakis, the former Greek and European champion, comes in, and over the ropes he goes. You can see that in your... McMasters tells him to break, and as he breaks, he gives George a chop at the Adam's apple, and McMasters, strangely enough, is warning Lambrakis. They're sparring around. Not one effective hold as yet. And he mussed his hair, and he really can play. Oh, brother. George says that is not fair. He said, he mussed my hair. He mussed my hair up, and he pulled it. And the crowd is booing. He says, let's wrestle, says McMaster. There we go in. He's stamping his foot, and he says, get out of the way. He says, don't gouge him in the eyes. Don't pull his hair. I'll have to disqualify you. Lambrakis looks sort of like Pick's bad boy with a beard. There's a figure four wrist lock by Lambrakis applied on Gorgeous George. Standing figure four wrist lock, as you can see. George is very powerful for 215 pounds. He says, I'll pull you up. But he hits the canvas, but he's rolling and the shoulders off the mat. Lambrakis bulldogging that figure four wrist lock. Andreas Lambrakis and the Human Orchid. He has his hand on his blonde locks, and he smacks him back to the canvas, still holding on to this figure four wrist lock. Figure four wrist lock. George is bridged up. There's a handful of hair that helped him get back to... He says, Gorgeous George, I got him done here, he says. Lambrakis doesn't speak much English. He does say something. It's very funny. Now there's a chin lock applied by Lambrakis. And the Orchid is getting a bit of wilting at the hands of the former Greek and European champion. And McMasters is trying to break the hold, telling Lambrakis to break it. And he's warning him again because he said he choked me. Oh, brother. But he had a legitimate beef then, and McMasters is warning Lambrakis that a stranglehold is still illegal in wrestling. Because I have had Gorgeous George in my lap before in Hollywood and in Portland, Oregon, and I don't want that big beefy frame landing in my lap again. And they're beginning to applaud and said, the audience beginning to applaud and say, let's go, let's have some action. And there he goes. And George comes in with a front headlock. There's a rabbit punch to the back of the neck. A full front headlock by George now. A full front headlock, a rabbit punch to the back of the neck. Full front headlock by Gorgeous George. Full front headlock. Lambrakis in a position. The full front headlock, but George works on the nerves in the neck, which is a form of judo, and there was a whap on the back of the neck, a rabbit punch on McMasters. He said, I thought I was hitting Lambrakis, and he said it was Lambrakis that hit me. It was Gorgeous George that did the hitting, and he blamed it on Lambrakis. McMasters comes over and warns him. Well, here we go again. And the fans are clamoring for some action in this bout. And there is a rolling deal by Lambrakis, a head scissors by George, a breakaway by Lambrakis, and they're up to their feet. That's the fastest action we've seen in the bout so far. A side headlock by George, but he can't pull him over. George has got his leg locked under the rope, as you can see. And Lambrakis went his way. He can't throw him over because he's a powerful man. Has that side headlock, but the leg is locked under the rope. The leg is wrapped. You can see that in your screen. See how that leg is preventing him from hitting the canvas, and as the bell rings, they break that side headlock, and that is the end of round two. George moves very slowly, but I've seen him go up against a lot of big men, and when he does go in for a crucial hold, It seems like he gets it and gets it rapidly, and that's the end of his opponent. He looks like he's clowning around, sparring, and not moving very fast, but when he does go for a hold, he goes. There's a full front headlock, and he's working around the eyes a bit, a full front headlock, and obviously the fans of Festival Hall don't approve of the human orchid gorgeous skirt. McMasters is watching closely, telling him to break it up. McMasters says, don't get a strangle. Working over the eyes from this front headlock position, and there is an Irish whip into the crossbuckle, and he hits it hard. Here's another Irish whip, and into the crossbuckle, and he hit right in the back of the neck. A brutal hole, as I told you, when George does move, he moves fast. And here we go, watch out, and there's a headbutt. George goes down, and 2, 3. Wow, when these falls go, they go. There was a series of Irish whips into the crossbuckle, the third Irish whip into the rope. Lambrakis came off the rope with a headbutt into the midsection of Gorgeous George, rolled right on over him and pinned his shoulders with a body press to win the equalizing fall. And it's a fall apiece as we go into round 5. Now, if either grappler gets a fall, it will be the deciding fall. Of course, if they wrestle out the distance, the full 8 rounds, it will be a draw. George is picking him up, and another whip into the crossbuckle, and the back of the head hit the top crossbuckle and hit it hard. Here comes another Irish whip, and into the ropes he goes this time. George got out of the way. McMasters got hit and got hit hard. McMasters is groggy, and he pushes him away. And McMasters gets knocked down by Lambrakis. Why, I have no idea. And he comes in and he's letting him go. This is a Donnybrook. Gorgeous George is an onlooker. Down goes Bob McMasters. There can only be one end to this wrestling match. The winner, Gorgeous George, with Andreas Lambrakis disqualified, ladies and gentlemen. That is